Planning a trip to Switzerland in February and you're expecting full winter conditions but not the raw cold of January? You might actually be lucky. In this video, I'll tell you what traveling Switzerland in February is actually like, what works well, what to plan around, and who this month is actually good for, because this is Switzerland Insider. My name is Greg, I'm Swiss, and with me, you'll travel Switzerland properly. Now, February in Switzerland is the second half of the winter season already. The cold is still here, but it's usually a lot less than in January, and the days already feel noticeably longer. Now, in the lowlands and cities, February is cold and often dry. Fog is still very much a thing, but it changes character compared to earlier in winter. Instead of sitting low in the valleys, the fog layer often lifts higher and turns into something we call Hochnebel, which literally means high fog. This layer can sit over a large part of the lowlands for days and even weeks at a time. When that happens, people in cities and flatter regions might not see the sun directly at all, while higher elevations sit above the fog in full sunshine. Now, snow in the cities is still possible in February, but just like in January, it's not something you can plan around. When it does snow, it often looks good for a short time and again melts away. During the day, temperatures in cities usually sit around 0 to 8 degrees Celsius. That's roughly 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Nights can drop below freezing, especially on clear days. In the mountains, February feels more stable. The snow base is fully established, but the snowy days become less, meaning you get more sunshine. Daytime temperatures often stay around freezing, sometimes slightly above on sunny days. Now, nights are still very cold, especially the higher up you go. One thing that does start to change toward the end of February is snow quality at lower elevations. In lower ski resorts and south-facing areas, snow can become heavy and slushy during the day, and in some places, it starts to melt away completely by the end of the month. Higher resorts stay wintry, some of them until April. Now, if you want to know what that looks like, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on the upcoming videos of this series. Because February is already well into winter, most winter activities work. Now, skiing and snowboarding are still the main focus in February. In higher resorts, the conditions are usually excellent. If skiing is a priority, choosing a resort with enough altitude matters more in February than it did in January. If you're just starting out and need an easy hill to try out a few turns, this shouldn't be an issue though. One thing to keep in mind in February is winter safety still. Avalanche risk is still part of everyday reality in the mountains. Now, sledging is still very good in February also, particularly on higher and shaded routes. Long runs that start up high continue to work well, while lower runs can become softer and patchy later in the month. Still one of the best months for sledging, but again, elevation makes a difference. On top, you can do all the usual activities such as hiking, ice skating, paragliding, and whatever makes you happy in the snow. February is also a good month for scenic travel. Mountain railways, cable cars, and panoramic train routes still give you continuous winter scenery, especially above the fog layer. On days with fog in the lowlands, going higher up often means sunshine and happiness. There isn't one national winter break in Switzerland. Each canton sets its own school holidays, and they are staggered on purpose to spread demand in the mountains over a longer time. Now, some weeks are busier than others, but February is not a month with a clear low point. From a pricing perspective, the whole month carries holiday level demand. In ski resorts, good accommodation is often booked very far in advance. If you want something well located and reasonably priced, it's common to book a year or more ahead for February. Now, in contrary, cities are quite affordable. That's because no one actually wants to be there because of the fog, remember? Therefore, availability is usually quite decent. Now, for the locals, there are different names for these school holidays, and that already hints at what else is happening in February. In many places, they're called Skiferie, ski holidays. Where I'm from, in Zurich, we call them Sportferien, sport holidays. In Basel or Lucerne, they're known as Fastnachtsferien, which translates to Carnival holidays. And that takes us to the main events in February. Now, Carnival is the main event in February and lasts usually 4 to 5 days. It's important not to imagine Carnival like New Orleans or Rio. It's still one big party, but a bit more Swiss style. For travelers, the most visible Carnival experience is in Lucerne. Carnival there is open, loud, and the week where the sometimes a bit uptight locals loosen up a bit. Being in costume is common and encouraged, but it's not mandatory. If you want to join in, you can easily buy a simple costume in a supermarket or local shop without much effort. The old town fills with music, parades, street events, and the visitors mix in naturally with the locals. Now, if I were traveling Switzerland in February, the first thing I'd do is check when the carnival takes place. If I wanted to experience it, I'd plan my city time around those dates. If I didn't, I'd make sure to avoid them. Either way, Carnival would be the starting point for planning, not an afterthought. After that, I'd commit to winter and choose one alpine region for most of the trip. February is not a month where I'd rush around the country or change hotels often. The snow conditions are generally good, the days are longer than in January, for example, and it makes more sense to slow down and really use one place only. If skiing mattered to me, I'd go for altitude. Higher resorts stay more wintry all month, while the lower ones can struggle towards the end of the month. I'd rather choose a quieter, higher village than a well-known low resort and then fight the conditions. Then I'd mix skiing with non-ski days. Winter walks, sledging, and just being outside work very well in February, and the longer daylights make it easier to spread activities without feeling too stressed. And I'd use cities only as short stops. Lucerne, for example, works well at the beginning or the end of a trip, especially if the carnival lines up. But February, in my eyes, still belongs to the mountains. I also wouldn't plan February spontaneously. Good accommodation in the mountains is often booked far in advance. If you plan early and travel with the season, February can be a very solid month to visit Switzerland. After February comes March, and this is where things start to shift. It's a month many people dislike, and that reputation, to be honest, is largely undeserved. You'll see why in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon around in Switzerland. Bis bald und tschüss.